Have you ever wondered how hackers break into cloud environments, even when organizations have strict security controls? Or how a single misconfigured identity role can give attackers temporary but powerful access? Well, today we're going to dive into that topic and uncover how IAM role abuse works and what you can do to prevent it. Welcome to Blue Hat CyberSec Academy. In today's cloud-first world, identity and access management, or IAM, is one of the most critical pillars of security. Organizations rely heavily on IAM roles to control who can access what resources in cloud environments like AWS, Azure, and Google Cloud. But here's the tricky part. While IAM roles are essential for security, they can also become a major attack vector when misused or exploited by malicious actors. So, let's talk about IAM role abuse, how hackers exploit cloud identity roles, look at real-world examples, and learn strategies to protect your cloud environment. Understanding IAM roles. IAM roles are essentially permissions containers. They define what actions a user, application, or service can perform in your cloud environment. Unlike IAM users, roles don't have permanent credentials. They are assumed temporarily by users, applications, or services to perform specific tasks. For example, an application might assume a role to read objects from an S3 bucket, or a developer might assume a role to deploy resources to a specific environment. Roles are designed to follow the principle of least privilege, granting only the permissions necessary to complete a task. How hackers exploit IAM roles. First, there's stolen credentials and temporary role assumption. Attackers may gain access to IAM user credentials through phishing, leaked secrets, or misconfigured storage. Once they have these credentials, they can assume roles attached to that user, escalate privileges, access sensitive data, or even deploy malicious resources. Next, we have overprivileged roles. Roles that are configured with more permissions than needed are a goldmine for attackers. Hackers can leverage these over-permissioned roles to move laterally in the cloud environment, exfiltrate data, or take control of critical services. Another common method is misconfigured trust relationships. Roles often have trust policies that define which identities can assume them. Hackers exploit weak or overly broad trust relationships to impersonate services or users and gain unauthorized access. And finally, there's cross-account role exploitation. Many organizations link multiple cloud accounts. Attackers can exploit misconfigured cross-account roles to pivot from one account to another, expanding the scope of the compromise. Real-world examples of IAM role abuse. In the Capital One breach of 2019, a hacker exploited a misconfigured IAM role in AWS to access sensitive customer data, exposing over 100 million records. Crypto mining campaigns also take advantage of overprivileged roles to deploy mining scripts on cloud instances, generating profit for attackers while staying under the radar. Enterprises have also seen data exfiltration through compromised IAM roles, where attackers access storage buckets, databases, or services and steal proprietary data. Clearly, IAM role abuse can cause financial, reputational, and operational damage if not properly managed. Preventing IAM role abuse starts with, always following the principle of least privilege. You should ensure that roles are granted only the permissions needed for a specific task. It's really important to regularly audit role permissions and remove any unnecessary privileges. Next, you want to monitor role usage. Make sure to enable logging and monitoring of role assumption events. Tools like AWS CloudTrail, Azure Monitor, or GCP Cloud Audit Logs can alert you to unusual patterns, such as roles being assumed outside normal schedules or by unexpected identities. Another key step is to enforce multi-factor authentication, or MFA, for privileged roles. This adds a critical layer of protection against stolen credentials. Also, implement role segmentation, separate roles by function and environment. For example, development, testing, and production roles should have different permissions and ideally should not overlap unnecessarily. When possible, use temporary and time-limited credentials. This really limits the window of opportunity for attackers if credentials are compromised. It's also vital to regularly audit trust policies. Make sure that trust relationships are restrictive and only authorized identities can assume roles. Misconfigured trust policies are, unfortunately, a frequent target in cross-account attacks. Finally, automate role and permission reviews. Use cloud-native tools or third-party solutions to continuously scan for over-permissioned roles, inactive roles, and risky trust relationships. Automated remediation can dramatically reduce your attack surface. In summary, IAM roles are critical for secure cloud operations. but they can become a major risk when abused. Hackers target misconfigured, over-permissioned, or poorly monitored roles to gain unauthorized access, exfiltrate data, or launch attacks. By following least privilege principles, monitoring role activity, enforcing MFA, auditing trust policies, and using temporary credentials, organizations can drastically reduce the risk of IAM role abuse. And remember, cloud security is an ongoing process. Regular audits, continuous monitoring, and proactive remediation are your best defense against identity-based attacks. Challenge for you. Think about these questions and see if you can answer them. First, can you identify any overprivileged roles in your cloud environment today? Second, are your trust policies restrictive enough to prevent cross-account exploitation? And third, how would you set up alerts for unusual IAM role assumptions in your organization? Take a few minutes to review your IAM roles and implement at least one improvement. Your cloud security really depends on it. If you found this video helpful, don't forget to like, share, and subscribe to Blue Hat CyberSec Academy. And be sure to check out our cloud security playlist, where we explore securing cloud-native applications, protecting IAM roles, and much more. Stay secure, keep auditing those roles, and I'll see you in the next video.